Hey y'all, it's Steve, Hobo with Wood. In this video, we're going to design a Christmas ornament. A 3D Christmas ornament. I've got a lot of them done, but we're going to do one from scratch. Stay tuned. Okay guys, so I've found this online and thought it was pretty cool, and I decided I can do that, and if I can do it, you can do it. Trust me. So I'm going to show you the process and how I create these designs and some of the artwork, but it's a really simple design. It is a three-dimensional Christmas ornament. This one is a little snowman. And in the flip side, you just see the silhouette of the trees there, but there's, you hang it so you've got snow, the frosty wannabe hanging out. In addition to the frosty, or to some snowman design, I've got some deer designs. Now I've got these done in all natural wood. They can be painted up and made custom. Here's a little buck. And instead of the tree background like you got here, get out of the way, string, there we go. I did this one, string, with the mountain background. And Buck Jr. looking up to Dad there. Thought that was pretty cool. You can use either of the backgrounds with either of the forefronts. And what I'm working on is I'm working on 3 different designs of 3 different subject matters. These are the deer, and I've actually got one of those duplicated. I got another one. We'll look at that in Lightburn. I'm also doing 3 different snowmen. That's just one of them. But I'm also going to be working on another that'll be a religious theme, where we've got there's Mary and Joseph and the manger. So, and I've got to tweak that just a little bit. Joseph's a little bit far, and we'll do that here in this video too. So let's jump into Lightburn and take a look at what I've got going on so far. Well, let's see here. All right. Let's pull all this together so you can see what we've got. So I've got the 3 different themes already worked out on my buck. And I'm going to do Buck staring dead on at you here, like so. Kind of a prancing Buck. And then Buck Jr. and Dad. And then a couple of trees and the mountain background. And that'll be the group that'll go with the Bucks. I've got 2 snowmen done. I'm going to do another snowman right now on this video. And I've got to come up with a couple more ideas for the religious, the manger theme. But this is a pretty simple design. I've got this ring here. And this piece is cut out to where it slides in through the center there. And it's got a couple places notched out to where these pieces will sit nice and flat on there, and given a place to lock in, and it's going to be perfectly horizontal. You're not fidgeting trying to figure out, wait a minute, that's not quite level, that's not, I've taken care of that. And the forefront pieces, they've got a smaller slot, and we'll snap right in here. And in the background pieces, of course, a larger slot, and it'll snap in there. And I'm designing these so that if you get either of these packs or all of the packs, you can mix and match. If you didn't want the deer in the mountains, you wanted the deer in the forest, you could put this forest piece on the back of this, behind the deer. You can interchange these pieces. All right, So we're not going to get into all the design of this, but I'm going to show you a quick design on a snowman and what I've got to do and how I design these, because I'm going to offer these as packs. I'm going to offer a pack of 3 of the deer with a blank template, a pack of 3 snowmen with a blank template, and a pack of 3 mangers with a blank template. So there'll be a total of a dozen, more or less, that'll be total offered in different groups and or a pack. But let's look at the snowman. I want to draw a snowman that you can put the date on. A lot of folks like to have annual ornaments. So let's draw up us a snowman. And you know what? I'm just going to come over here, blank screen, and we can size him in a minute. I've got my circle tool selected, hold my shift key. I'm going to draw out a perfect circle. And then I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm going to draw this one a little bit smaller to where it looks like it'd be a good head size. That'd be good. And that's probably even positioned good. We'll select that. I'll select that, make sure she's centered. There we go. Now weld those together with the weld tool. And I think I like that. Now I'm going to I'm signed up for this particular software quite some time ago. svgheart.com. I'm already logged in. I don't want that one. I want to go back here to the faces. Snowman. Now here I could just copy one of those out. In fact, I did use this snowman for one of them, but that's the only one that I liked as a silhouette. But I am going to borrow a face, and I'm going to use this face. Loading. All right, instead of bothering to download it, which I can, I am a member, I've logged in at svgheart.com. I can download this, but instead of download it, I'm just going to right click it, copy the image, come back over here, right click and paste the image, select it and trace the image. And if I'm going too fast for you guys, I'm sorry, but this is going to be a long video if I don't expedite some of these things. Now I've got the eyes and the brows and the mouth, but I don't have the nose. So I'm going to increase my threshold. There we go. Now we've got the nose, and say OK. Now that's way too big, of course, but I'm just going to hold my shift button and draw that down. Actually, shift didn't work. I'm going to use my control button, dummy. Go back, control, and draw that down. There we go. Now I'm going to bring it all down here to, come on now, to the head. Now I can make it a little bit smaller. That's way too small. We know some people that look like that, but we don't want our snowman to look that way. Still small yet. Getting better. Okay. Alright. Now, in fact, I could just say select that and select that and put it in center. No, center don't. Oh, you know what? It's because his nose is so long that it makes it want to go off center. So we're going to put that, and the way you could do that is just ungroup it. Select the eyes and the brows and select the mouth. Group them and tell them to go to the center. Like that. And now that's centered up, and the nose even looks fine there like it is. Alright, now he needs a top hat. We're going to draw a circle first. Not a circle, but an ellipse. And we're going to create the brim of the hat. Don't want it to be too big. And we'll bring it over here. About like that looks good. Now we need a square to make our stovepipe. Actually, not even square. We're going to do a rectangle. That looks pretty good. We'll make sure that they're centered with each other. There we go. Now we'll weld those two together. Now he needs a ribbon around his hat. So let's draw us another rectangle. We're going to zoom in tight here. Draw a rectangle. We don't want to get too close to the edge because this is going to be cut out, and we don't want it to be making this edge of the hat too fragile. So I'm going to draw that back in a little bit. Center it up in the hat. There we go. Now we need to give it the illusion of it wrapping around the hat, and we're going to do that by using the tools and our deform selection tools. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw down here, and I could have held my shift button and done the same at the time, both of them at the same time by holding shift. There we go. Now move them both, and we're going to do that. Now we're going to come over here and bring them up and down here, holding the shift button, bring it up, and you know what, we'll even bring these out a little bit. There we go. Bring these out a little more. And we can bring it out just a bit. Alright, now that looks good. Now let's select our hat and select the perimeter of our snowman and weld those together. And now, oh, you know what? I forgot to do one thing. He looks too perfect. We don't like, I'm all about my symmetry. A lot of my regular viewers know that. But now what we're going to do is we're going to select both of them, and we're going to give them a little style. We're going to just kind of tilt that hat a little bit. He's pimping. Pimping. Alright, there we go. Now select the hat and the perimeter and weld that. There we go. That looks better. Probably actually could be even a little bit lower. And that's what I love about my undo button. We'll go ahead and select both of them and bring it on down a little bit. And now weld those. Yeah, that looks better. That looks better. Okay. Now he needs some buttons. So we're going to draw circles. That actually looks pretty good. We're going to come over here. Actually, go ahead and center it up. That's centered. Select it and hit Control D twice. And now just bring it down. Oh, don't want to do that. I just want to select one. So just select and bring it down. And if that looks, that's close, but it's not perfect. So now we're going to distribute them. And then that's good. And now group them. And we've already got it centered up. All right, so that's good. Actually, you know what? I'm going to do something different with this, but that's okay. We're going to do this for now. I'll probably end up having to change those because we're actually going to make this one with the date in it. And we could do this a couple of ways. I could do it to where the buttons wouldn't even be relevant. We should make a larger circle and come in here and we'd cut out that whole thing. And then you could weld in the last two digits of the year, 23. But instead of doing it like that, I'm going to do a rectangular shape and put the whole year in there. I just think that'll look better. Let's see, but first let's give him, we want to give him a scarf. He's got a scarf there and there. Yeah, let's give him a scarf. He's naked without his scarf. So we'll just do another rectangle. And we're going to convert it to a path. And then we're going to show our nodes. And we're going to first insert a node here by hitting the M for middle, and then we're going to hit the letter S for smooth, and then I can pull that out, and that's going to round that out a little bit, and then hit the letter S again, and now we'll flatten it down a little bit, and let's go back to node editing, and we're going to delete this one by hitting the letter D. Okay, starting to look a little bit better for what I want it to look like. We're going to draw this out a little bit. Tilt it a little. I'm on. Alright, and actually this needs to curve the other way. So node editing and drag that down. There we go. That's what I was missing. And we'll bring that on down here like that. Bring that one up here. And that's good enough for right now. Just a simple little scarf. Don't want to get it too close there. Don't want to make that too fragile when it cuts out. You know what? Let's do. Let's give him a couple of hangers. And I don't know how much of this is going to go away whenever I put my date in here. But let's, nope, didn't want to do that. Undo. Delete that. Alright, I wanted to select it, rotate it a little bit. We'll give it a radius. How big is that? 2.87, half of that's 1.4, so come over here to radius and give it a 1.4 millimeter radius, and we're going to round these off by doing that there. And this one we're going to come up here and put a middle node in there by hitting the letter M, and we're going to hit the letter D and delete that one and delete that one, and bring that up here and say Control D, duplicate it, and now flip it and rotate it. Do we want to weld them together? I think we will. I think we'll just weld all that together. So let's get them all lined up. And this may have to change by the time it gets to the final. This is my designing process in real time, folks. So actually, let's see. Weld that up and then weld that up, and then I'm going to open this up a little bit. And we'll open that one a little bit. And this is going to be too fragile, so we'll just bring those down. Okay, That'll work for right now. Starting to get Mr. Snowman. Alright, need to give him some hands. Alright, so now let's draw. We're going to make them mittens. So we're just going to draw out an ellipse. It's not going to be a perfect circle. And we'll draw out another one. Smaller. Alright, now we'll bring it over here. Zoom in a little bit where everybody can see it a little better. And we'll rotate it. And we'll weld those together. His thumb can be a little bit fatter. So I'll just grab those, and I just lost them. Grab those. Okay, and now let's do another ellipse. Weld those, and now let's give him some Tyrannosaurus Rex arms. Not going to be really big arms, of course, and we'll do that with we'll do it with another ellipse, a little bit bigger. Now that and that welded together again. Now we can take and rotate it, bring it in like so. And actually, this is going to be the one with the don't want to do that, I wanted to rotate them. This is going to be the one with the date on it, so I need to get it up here. Control D, duplicate it, flip it, mirror it, use my arrow keys to arrow it over. And bring it outboard there a little bit. Very good. And we can weld those. Alright, now for the date. To do the date, this is going to be a little bit tricky. I'm going to figure this out as we go. In fact, I'm going to get rid of the buttons for right now. We don't need them for right now. We're going to do a rectangle. And I don't really want it to be any wider. In fact, it probably needs to be a little bit narrower than his overall width. So he is 115 millimeters wide. So we'll do this 110 instead of 120, 110. And now we'll center it up. There we go. Now that I've got that done, we're going to need to duplicate that. So selecting that, Control D, duplicate it. And now with one of those selected, I'm going to select my Snowman, go to my tools, use my Boolean Assistant, and see which one do I want. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I think that's the one I want, but because let's turn off one of those. I've got a duplicate made. We're going to put it on a toolpath for now and turn off the toolpath. So now I can select just the one and select the Snowman. Go back to my Boolean Assistant. And there you can see I don't want that. I don't want that. I don't want that. That's the one I want. And so we'll say OK. And you can now I'll save the toolpath like so. In fact, let's put a couple bars on there. Give it a little more room to weld to. So I'm gonna do, and guys, there's probably a much better way to do this, but I'm just doing this on the fly, and as I realize what I need and what I want, so we'll do this. We'll duplicate that, Control D, duplicate it, and align it to the bottom. Now we'll select both of those and put them on the cut path. Turn off that tool path again. Alright, and now we will weld each individual one to its corresponding piece. And actually that's still grouped, okay, so that's fine. Do that and group that. Okay, there we go. So now you don't need the tool path. We can show that we don't need that. We can go ahead and get rid of it. I will save that like it is, and now what you would do if you're going to put in 2023, you would just simply take your text tool, use whatever font you want to use, and we'll use the Arial Black, bring it down here. Now this is going to be fun with the 0 and the 20 because that's not going to cut out like it is until you weld it in place. Alright, I believe it will be alright. So let's center that. Alright, now it's centered. We can draw it out a little bit to get them overlapping, and we need to get it down. Make it a little bit bigger, and then I'm going to decrease my increments to 0.01. Okay, that's overlapping, looking pretty good. But I want it to be able to fill out more, so I'm going to increase my horizontal spacing about like that. Now, if I weld that to that, I think I'm going to be okay. Yeah, because that's going to cut out, that's going to stay. So that could be your 2023 Snowman. Alright, undo, 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 undo. Actually, we can just delete it now. So that'll come over here. Now I've got to get him to the right size as the rest of these guys. And this has an overall height of 55.284. And of that, 2.8 millimeters is the bottom piece here, or 2.6. So 50, 53, 52.6. So take and select that whole thing, and we're going to, oh, I didn't get it all, undo. Group them, won't do that again. And 52.6, make sure our aspect ratio is locked. Our height, 52.6 millimeters. And now I need to be able to add my attachment down here. And what I'm going to do is first give him a little base to stand on by drawing another ellipse. Not got to be big. Centered up. And now I'm going to raise it up to about there. Now we'll about there. And now weld that. Now I need to give it a flat bottom. And and I will, didn't want to do that, undo that, delete you, bye-bye, select you, and bring you down some, about like so. Now we'll do A minus B. There we go. Now he's a flat bottom. Now I need to put a square that size, or a rectangle that size, on the bottom. So I'm going to duplicate this, say Control D, duplicate it, and bring it over here. And that actually is, the base ain't big enough, so we're gonna, should have checked that first. We'll undo until we get to our ellipse. There. Alright, so to know what size I need, I'm gonna go ahead and bring one of these, Control D, duplicate it, bring it over here. So that's how big the slot's gonna be in the hole. So I'm going to make this, hold my control button bigger than that, like so. And now weld those together. Now give it a flat bottom. I've just drawn out a rectangle that exceeds it. And then A, select, come on, I gotta get my selector tool. A minus B. Gives it a flat bottom. Now I can select that, make sure she's centered, and say Alt Shift V vertical, and that will bring it right up there. And now just weld it. Done. Alright, so obviously you can't cut that out like it is without putting in a year or something there. You can make that a year, or you can personalize it. Make it the person's name. That would be a big seller. Then it's good for, many years. All right, so now I've just got to do a test cut. In fact, we're going to go ahead and make this one Hobo. Caps, Hobo. I'll weld this in place and do a test cut and see how well this turns out. I may have to make some modifications, but I wanted you to see the process that goes in behind this. Let me weld those up in place and make sure everything's centered. And I'll cut out this little snowman and the forest and one of these and see what we get. Don't go anywhere. Okay, he actually turned out pretty cool. I'm going to make a couple of changes. His nose is too big. It's not really proportionate to the rest of his face. And that wasn't my artwork. That was the artwork that I imported. But his nose is too big. But overall, it worked out pretty good. I like that. So I'm going to make just a few tweaks to make it easier to weed out his scarf. It was a little tight still, but overall I'm impressed with that. So this file, this design, and along with the others, as soon as I get all the designs finished, will be available on hobowithwood.com. I'm going to offer the deer as a pack, the Snowmen as a pack, and then the Religious as a pack. Each of those pack of 3 will come with a template to where if you wanted to do your own, you don't have to create everything from scratch. And then I'll offer a baker's dozen. There's 3, no, that'd be 9. There'll be I'll have all 3 groups and a template, so that'd be what, 9 pieces. Am I right? 10 pieces instead of 13. Anyway, guys, thanks for hanging around. This has been fun to do. I hope you enjoyed it. And FYI, my patrons are getting these files for free. If you're not a patron on patreon.com/hobowithwood, you really should consider jumping over there and becoming a member and supporting this channel, because they do get these files before anybody else does, and they get them for free. There are 3 levels: bronze, silver, and gold. Bronze is going to get a pack. Silver is going to get 2 packs. Gold's going to get them all. It's worth it if you become a gold member, I promise, because the number of files that you get for free monthly way out do the total expense of becoming a gold patron on patreon.com/hobowithwood. So until the next video, thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon. I'm Steve, Hobo with Wood, and I'm out.